that? Who's praying for that?
You.
I'll pray for me.
It's good. Change it. It's usually me. Yeah. We throw them clear.
Okay. I got 6 o'clock on the dot.
Good evening. The Montgomery City Council will now come to order. If you have your phone, would you silence them, please? And we want to welcome you to this council meeting. Know that you have an interest in Montgomery, not only interest in the city of Montgomery, but interest in the council itself. And we want to thank you for coming out and sharing your time with us. If all nothing else, would you rise? We're going to have an invitation by Councilwoman Judy Davis.
Father, I just thank you for this time and this opportunity to not only serve you, but to serve this community. I just ask that everything that we do and discuss this evening be to glorify you, but to better our city as well. We give you the glory and the honor, and it's your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Now we have a pledge to the United States flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I'd like to say the mayor is not here tonight, or either Councilman Kevin Lacey, and we were going to carry on in their stead. Before we get going, we have a recognition of city citizen Mr. Cohen Rogers, who's with Boy Scout Troop 491, and we want to recognize him because he's working to be an Eagle Scout. He's working on his communication and his citizenship in the community badge. And since he got a communication, I'm going to ask Mr. Rogers, is that something that you want to say? Oh, well, you good, thank you. Well, we want to recognize him for that because I think it's an honor to seek to become an Eagle Scout. That's something that you can always have, that no one can take away from you. I want to congratulations on your achievement so far.
Thank you.
We have another citizen, Mr. Bill Clevin.
Well, do you want to do a picture with him real quick?
I would do that.
Sorry, Bill.
No, you're good.
We're going to get a picture after.
So, good evening. The mayor's not here, but she hasn't been here. She's off campaigning, and this has been weighing on my mind for quite some time, and actually my heart. So, I come here this evening as a business owner, and more importantly, as a resident, to bring to light the ugliness this Mayor Sarah Countryman has inflicted to our community. I know, along with everyone else and myself, there's no love lost between Sarah Countryman and her little club of misfits that she has following her around. Laying before you is a comment that's posted on my family's business Facebook page by none other than Mark Shorten, aka the Laughing Jackass, the personal attack dog paid by Sarah Countryman to trash, harass, ruin anyone or any business that doesn't conform to her way of thinking, or should I say bow down and cater to. As I said, she's not here, but I was going to read it to her. But anyway, Sarah, you alone have brought this ugliness to Montgomery. You have transformed our community into a drama-filled swamp filled with ugliness and pit-like. As the next election comes, I implore the residents of this community to know the 3 candidates are on the ballot because Sarah Countryman wants to continue to have her way in this community. They're not on the ballot to make our community better. That's a fact. You can look it up. Brian Sanford, Cheryl Fox, and Casey Olson. Those three individuals aren't here to make our community better. They're here because she wanted them to be on that ballot. A vote for them is a vote for Sarah Countryman, and our community is headed to the eyelids with her. I truly hope Montgomery County now sees who truly she is, and that she's not elected as county judge on March 1st. And I want to say that I apologize to you, young man, because of this great thing that you have in front of you. You had to sit here and listen to me do this, but all kudos to you. Let your shining light bring Montgomery, because we're all proud of you, buddy. Okay? Thank you, City Council. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, before we go any further, we want to see if we can get a picture with Mr. Rogers. If we come up. You wanna take it with the camera?
Yeah, I think we take it with yours. Should we go with mine? You got yours? Come on, I'll try it. Oops, sorry.
I never had a picture.
Dave's got it. There you go.
I never had a picture with the Eagles guy before.
Well, he's not quite there yet, but he's well on his way.
1, 2, 3. Let's take one more call here.
Congratulations.
Okay, now we'll move on to our consent agenda. Minutes for the regular meeting of February 8, 2022.
I make a motion that we approve consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting on February 8, 2022. Motion is open for discussion. None. All those in favor of accepting the minutes, regular minutes for February 8, 2020, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We accept the minutes for the regular meeting of February 8, 2022. Consideration and possible action regarding final acceptance and completion of the one-year warranty period for public infrastructure included in Hills of Town Creek, Section 3, Development Number 1019.
Okay, this item is coming back now that the work has been done. The engineer's memo was attached discussing the repairs that have been made by the developer to correct the ponding in the previously identified areas and the streets of the subdivision. City staff concurs with the engineer's recommendation, believes the streets to be in good condition and ready to be accepted by the city. City engineer Chris Rosnowski is here. If there's anything else to add or questions from council.
The only thing I do want to add is that my memo to you says it's contingent upon receipt of transfer of the warranty to the city. That was a 2-year warranty provided by the contractor. We do have that in writing from both the developer and the contractor acknowledging that transfer of the warranty to the city. Other than that, in the packet, you'll see the photos as the streets were flooded on February the 7th. We checked the 7th, 8th, and 9th. The reason I don't have kind of the layout of pictures is we've had issues on the 8th, so it was a whited out photo, so we didn't do much. But still see the 9th. What it was before with the water still in the streets, before the repair, and then after the repair, and the same thing on page 10, looking at the gutter line of the street on Ross Lane, before the repair, after the same period of time. So both of those are right up. And so do you recommend accepting the infrastructure residence?
The pictures speak for themselves, but I asked the whole neighborhood, just kind of broad stroke, is there anybody not happy? I got 0, saying that. But with what you said, when we make the recommendation, to be clear, the 2-year warranty is applied to the company. So is there some sort of language that needs to change in the motion, or can we pass this as an item?
My recommendation is you just pass it as an item.
Okay. Then I recommend we approve item 2.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded that we approve consideration of possible action regarding final acceptance and completion of the one-year warranty period for public infrastructure included in Hills of Town Creek, Section 3, Development Number 1019. Motion is open for discussion or debatable.
I'd just like to say, I know elsewhere it's here in the room, but please let Salcraft know that thank you for making it right. I mean, I know we pushed you and challenged you and stretched you, and we want to continue to do life together for a little while longer here and make it right for y'all too. So hopefully there's some learning lessons that we've all learned and we're ready to get down the road for.
Sure, I will, and we get something more or less kind of, so.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Are those opposed? Nay? No, the ayes have it. Motion carried. So we accept the final acceptance and completion of the one-year warranty period of public infrastructure included in Hills of Town Creek, Section 3, development number 1019. Now we're up to our departmental reports. We have the city administrator report.
Thank you. You have my written report, just to hit on a couple of the highlights there. The incoming city secretary, Nikki Brow, accepted the offer of employment with the city. She will begin working full-time for the city on Monday, February 28th. Capital improvement planning documents were previously distributed. City engineer will give an overview on that presentation tonight. Should council wish it, and there's an awful lot to cover on there, I recommend you consider scheduling a workshop to be able to cover that in more detail. My written report includes the update on the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation from January. It's the same information I covered last month because the February meeting was last night. And normally what I'm reporting in here is from the previous month anyway, but I got it last month, so there's not a whole lot of additional forward activity, so I will record that in the way I do with other activities going forward next month. But we'll reiterate, you'll see this on the utility report. Charlie Diggs from his fall festival presented a check to MEDC last month of $2,200. That was in return for MEDC's share of ticket proceeds from a sponsorship earlier, so we'll see that $2,200 on that report. Likewise, in the development report that follows, there's also an update on the planning and zoning activity for the previous month. This month, I'm starting to include the information for the monthly records request. I was asked by City Council for some more transparency on that, so I'm going to be including that as part of the monthly reporting. If there's any specific questions you have on that, please feel free to reach me at any time. Transitioning then into the development report. We can, even though we're just coming off the holidays and starting relatively early in the year, there's a high level of activity in residential and commercial development in the city. Hills of Town Creek and Town Creek Crossing both have homes entering, will have a lot of homes entering the market this year, and they have sections that are well underway towards development. On the east side of the city in commercial development, Discount Tire is in the preliminary engineering review phase. It's going to go on the corner on the north side of 105 at Buffalo Springs on the northeast corner there. Part of that getting completed, we'll put a connector road in that is parallel but off 105 behind that store, allowing access from people who are coming on Buffalo Springs to Kroger without having to come out to 105. And so I think that will be a big step in safety for a lot of people, because the more traffic we're picking up, it is just becoming more difficult at times to turn onto 105, especially if you're not trying to go a long distance. And so that will come with the development of Discount Tire there. In the month of January, we had no new homes completed. That was much a function of two builders gearing up for new areas as much as the holiday period, but we did have 10 new permits issued for single-family homes during the month of January, and I expect that to increase as we go through the next few months. On development activities with Water Development Board funding, I want to note that three of the items that have been on here for several years, the downtown and State Highway 105 water line project, it shows that's completed because it is completed. The lift station number 1 project, it's been completed for a while, but we're carrying that with the project. And that's the large lift station for the sewer plant. And water plant number 3, those are well underway at this time. The ground storage tank, you've probably seen the pictures in the engineer's report, and I'm sure Chris will refer to them. And that is well under construction and should soon be completed. Under transportation and mobility, the FM 149 turn lane that they had told us, I think, was going to be completed last September. Best word I have now is, next September.
Oh,
So hopefully it'll be much sooner than that. I mean, I forget exactly when the city provided that land and helped with that, but we're probably around 3 years.
yeah.
And that wasn't the start of the project, that's when land was provided to TxDOT. A lot of things have been slowed down, and unfortunately, from our point of view, that's one of them. And for those who don't know exactly what I'm referring to, on FM 149 northbound, turning right to the east on 105, so the corner of Berkshire Brothers, there will be a turn lane being added there. If you look at that site, you can see where some preliminary work has been done. But it's going to be a few more months before they complete the actual lane itself. We're planning to put in the MLK sidewalk that's in the budget. We will be pushing that project later this year. We're also going to attempt to include that in TxDOT's 2022 Safe Routes to School program for grant funding. The city has budgeted the funds for that, and so we're going to move that project from one way or the other. But we hope if we can get grant funding for that, that'll free up some of that money for additional sidewalk or other capital projects. So one way or another, we'll be moving that project. TxDOT, what we have labeled as State Highway 105 Access Management Project. That's the state's work. They're adding direction in the turn lanes between Montgomery and Conroe, all the way towards 45, on just the eastern edge of Montgomery near 2054. And they're doing widening work, turn lanes over in that area, but they'll also be putting in concrete barriers in the medians so that traffic can only go certain ways and turning out of the turn lane.
Do you know how long that project was in queue before it started? Like, was it in queue 20 years like our turn lane was? Did we just keep getting bumped? I mean,
I know it was a long time. I don't know how long of a time. Do you have any information on that, Chris?
I think the first public meetings of that one were, if I remember right, 2015 or 2016. But that project is funded from a federal safety grant,
okay.
which is why that project went ahead of some others, because the state had a timeline to use those funds. I believe that is now, so they had to get the project out. And it's all the way from Montgomery to Conroe.
And this isn't the only area where they've done that and doing that. I know I've seen reports of now that TxDOT is communicating with communities along FM 13, 14 in areas about putting it there. So they're obviously looking to spend that money in a lot of places. The Clipper sidewalk project, in the written report, we noted the design plans were approximately 50% complete. I think those are now closer to 80 to 90% complete, so that is moving along. And one last note I wanted to make with regards, we've got several pages of the downtown improvement plan in here. MEDC last night did have a conversation related to planning timetables with regards to the implementation. There'll be more discussion next month. And then I'm fairly certain for MEDC I'll be coming back to council with trying to coordinate both entities in looking at for direction of what part of the projects the MEDC may be willing to fund in partnership. And so that's me forecasting a bit another month into the future, so I don't have information on that, just the direction I see that going. And then at the end of the development report, as I mentioned earlier, you have the planning and zoning update from the February 2022 meeting. And that concludes my report on that. If you have any questions, otherwise I'll go right into the sales tax report.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay. Sales Revenue Incorporated, our consultant on this day, we'll have someone here at next month's meeting, so I'm just give you the brief overview tonight. The last 2 months have been working on their sales tax audit. They have someone physically driving around the area, looking for companies that may or may not be on the tax rolls and recording, and then going back and researching at the comptroller's office. So they will have the results of that here next month. Page 2 of their report, page 27 of the packet, is the top 25 sales tax filers for the most recent 12 months ending February 2022. And then from there, move 2 pages forward, page 4 of the report, page 29 of the overall packet. You see the top 25 for the month of February, the top 25 for the month of January 2022. Please keep in mind that February is a quarterly filed report and January is just a monthly filed report. So there will be some larger companies that you see on February and not March or not January, but it gives you an idea of where some of those companies fall in between. For instance, Kroger files only quarterly. They're, over the last 12 months, the city's set top or number 2 sales tax generator. McCoy's files monthly, so it's not just on size. McCoy's being the number 1 generator.
And Panda made it in the top 10.
They've been welcome to the city.
Clearly.
And as I mentioned, SRI will have someone here next month, so
Okay,
that's all I have on that. Thank you very much.
all right, thanks. All right, financial report.
Good evening, council.
The,
Just to give some highlights on the financial report ending January 31st. Page number 3 of your report for your operating fund, your general fund. You have nearly 6 months of reserves in there. Bulk of it finally coming in with your ad valorem taxes, which I'll go over here in just a moment. Page 4 for your MEDC fund, just over 2 months worth of reserve there, or 2 years, I'm sorry, over 2 years worth of reserve there.
Yeah.
Not 2 months. And then almost a year's worth of reserve in your utility fund. For some of your disbursements on page 5 of your cash flow, you received sales tax for the month of January of $281,476.57. We did receive our PIP revenues, and that totaled roughly about $38,500, a little over $38,500 there. And for the month of January, we did receive revenues of almost $430,000 for your ad valorem taxes. So the bulk of them should be collected as of right now. We'll still see some more coming in for the month of February. The only disbursement that I wanted to point out was for check 31911 for TI Training County. That was for the simulator. That was from the police department. There is a grant that we are expected to receive for $42,075 of it. There was $700 of it. That is not reimbursable. It was just an extra that the PD department needed, but the rest of it is to be reimbursed from the grant that we're still waiting on. Going on page number 11, your budget collected just over $211,000 for your portion of the sales and sales tax. For the month of February, had the highest total that has ever come in, just over $610,000. So we have roughly $153,000 going to MEDC, the remaining $457,000 going to our general fund. So for the month of January thus far, we are roughly 40%, a little over 40% collected in your revenues that you have budgeted. And for the month, and as of January 31st, you're 28% on your expenditures. So we're doing pretty good thus far for only 4 months thus far. This will be the last report that I've printed out from QuickBooks going forward. Our new system Info will be printing out the report from there. So you'll see it a little bit modified, but I'm going to try to keep it as consistent and as close as I can as far as the data that I typically present on there. And then the last thing is coming up Thursday, I'm going to be taking care of your bond payments that are due next week.
Anthony, can you remind me, I was trying to remember last night, MEDC, but you were really excited about this new book, seemed excited, positive about it.
The new program?
Yes.
It is very exciting. There's just a lot of new things and a lot of great functions about it. It's one of those programs that will, I think, help just be on par with other cities, because a lot of cities like Shenandoah, like Tomball, Katy, they all have Encode. And they're interested in to be basically basically on that same level to be able to report kind of the same way that they do. It's just gonna be so much more beneficial and just, might be a small little learning curve at first just because there's a lot of information, but I do think once we kind of get the ball rolling, it's gonna be well worth it.
Good.
That's all I have. Unless you have any other questions.
Do you have an ETA on the grant money for the simulator, or no, not yet?
I'm hoping that it'll be either next month or by April is what I'm thinking, because we have to file it by, I think we have to file the expenses by April 14th-ish or so, 14th-ish.
Okay.
But it'll be before the end of fiscal year, if you know that.
Okay. And it's a guarantee that we're getting it back? It's not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all of the 700 of
Right.
that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have police report, Chief Solomon. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council.
Good evening.
You have the report before you also have last year's racial profiling. Don't have any questions. I'd like to introduce you guys to our new code enforcement officer, Ms. Constance Tilley. We stand up. Ms. Tilley comes to us with about 23 years of experience, not only in compliance reviews, inspections, and also code enforcement. She spent the last 3 years in Bryan, and before that she was in the city of St. Paul, Minnesota. We're excited about her being here. When we were interviewing, one of the most exciting things, she's been doing this for all this time, she's only written 1 citation. So it means she's able to get things done without having to go through all the citations. And I'm very impressed today, she's actually found an illegal dumping site today. Went through that illegal dumping site and found out where that stuff is coming from. So we'll be on that mark as well. So just like to say thank you, and we've got a new code enforcement officer, been a long time
Awesome.
coming.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome.
More questions? Yeah.
That's it. No more? Okay, thank you, Chief. Ms. Kimberly, court report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council.
Good
We
evening.
have a court report in front of you for January 2022. The collections for citations were 94, and revenue collections was $20,642.12 for the fiscal year for 2020 through 2021. The collections were $409,608.88. Are there any questions for the court? You guys.
All right, thank you. That was quick. Public Works, Mr. Mike.
Chief, while Mike's on his way up there, I was going to point out that just on your report alone, on your, what is this called? Your racial profiling report, stereotypically women get more tickets than men, but in your report it clearly shows us a difference. That men got more tickets than women, so 2,400 to 1,500 says a lot, so.
They talked their way out.
TJ says we talk our way out of them. Go ahead, Mike, sorry.
You're good, you're good.
Thank you, Mike.
You have the report in front of you. I'll just say that we had a very busy month with the storm that rolled through town. We lost about a week's worth of time trying to get cleaned up from that. We're finally getting caught up now and back on track on our normal stuff. And if you have any questions related to the report, I'd be happy to answer.
Do we have any more trees that still have to come down at Cedar Break?
Yes.
Or do you have an estimate on how many?
I believe there are 3 left. That have to come down. Yeah,
So-
the whole top is gone.
So if they're coming down, are we gonna plant others?
Yeah, we will. Yes. Yeah, we're still not fully, we're not fully completed on the storm cleanup. We've still got those that they're not safety hazards, but they do have to come down.
We got a Boy Scout in the room. I know they've got a conservationship badge. He can plant some trees for us. I see him taking notes.
Yeah. I'll give him a card before I leave.
There you go.
All right,
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have utility operations line.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
We have your January utility operations report in front of you. On page 2, we have your district alerts. If you have any questions on those, feel free to ask me. Page 3, we have your wastewater plant flow detail. Flow for the period between December and January was 5,317,000 gallons. Your daily peak was December 19th at 334,000. Your daily average flow is 171,500, and your 3-month average 173,933, giving you a 43% capacity for your 3-month average. Page 4 has your effluent monitoring report with the samples taken from the wastewater plants. All samples were in compliance for the month of January. And then page 5 is your water report. We pumped a total of 8,587,000 gallons, sold 8,125,000, bringing us to a 96% accountability. Below that, you'll see your year-end numbers for your permits on the Jasper and Catahoula aquifer wells. Sorry. So we were able to maintain those well within permit. And below that, we have a breakdown of your accountability and your connection count at 1,092. Page 6 and 7 are supplemental charts with 13-month history. Does council have any questions on the report?
The sewer backup at the trailer park, do we know what caused it? Because didn't they just have a massive water pipe leak the month before this? In October, November, and now they've got a sewer backup there too?
Yeah, so, I mean, it could be a number of things. I mean, when they jet it, all the water rushes through there. Can't really tell, but I mean, most of the time it's due to grease in the system. So grease going down the drain and solidifying inside the pipes is the main culprit to the backup. So along with flushing the flushable pipes.
Yeah, that aren't flushable.
Which kind of help that mass solidify into a bigger mass. So, I mean, it's just kind of what they're putting down the drain. It's nothing really to the maintenance or operation of the wastewater line.
It's not specific to the trailer park though. This isn't just a sewer line that just feeds them. This is a line that's coming from upstream and flowing down, correct? Sorry.
I would say that the majority of the flow, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, comes from the trailer park right
It
here?
is, that the line
that's the
that
end
was
of the
stopped
line.
up was on Old Landersville, but it's, I mean, there's 4 or 5 houses that are
Ahead
on
of
that
it.
line, after.
There was
The
some,
flushable wipes are, what I always tell people is,
They're
they
not
say flushable, but the toy in a Happy Meal from McDonald's is flushable also, but it does not mean it's flushable.
And so we end up covering the cost of having that line jetted, correct?
we had 2 samples of water that was impure, cloudy at the very least, and maybe even brown in some cases. You recall that, and you said you might go check on some of that.
Yeah, so we went through with Public Works on the current flushing program, and we identified areas of expansion on the city that we're going to give more attention to try to clear those issues up.
Okay.
We went through and checked all our sampling points. Everything is free of any kind of bacteria or coliform. But I think you should probably see a difference in the going future with the extra attention it's getting.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have number 10, utility report.
Starting on the first page of the utility report, picking up a couple items. The due to MEDC $2,200, that was what I referenced earlier from Charlie Diggs. A little farther down the list, there's a $5,304 item listed city reimbursement from Texas Risk Pool. Every year based on insurance claims, if the city is under a certain level, money will be refunded back to those within the risk pool, and that was our share coming back this year. Under hotel fee, the $1,041, that was largely the Caroline House. Due to construction, that was receipt of a closeout on the community development block grant project, and the franchise fee of $2,163.76 was from Sutherland. On the next page, down at the bottom under new water accounts, you can see that we added 36 new accounts during the month. Meanwhile, 18 accounts for disconnect. That generally tells us 18 were homes in transition and 18 were new move-ins. Those numbers may not always exactly align, but they're usually pretty close. And above that, you can see that we did, despite it being a slower month in January for work with homes and construction, we still had 63 permits that were issued throughout various types throughout the month.
Okay.
On the next page for the city account water usage, the only item that really sticks out is the irrigation in December for the community building. And I don't have a good reason for that. Maybe Mike might know. Thank you. Everything else was pretty much within the normal range. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, engineer report, Chris?
All right, good evening. I'm on page 111 of your packets. Start there. The downtown water line replacement project, that work is complete. Just final closeout documents are being prepared. Water plant number 3 improvements, we did receive pay at number 1 in the amount of $252,441.00. That was worked through December 31st. So when you look at percent complete by time and value of December 31st, it was a pretty big discrepancy. Since then, they have, the picture down below is taken on February 9th, where they have the second cooling tower placed, the hydrant tank placed, and the new GST, constructed minus the roof as of this photo that wasn't there the month before. So first part of the contract, they're waiting on materials to arrive. All the materials are now here, so we'll be seeing them catching up here pretty soon. Moving on to page 11, the GLO projects. There's been a lot of back and forth recently between staff, GLO, and Great Works, working out the final details of the projects, just making sure everything's aligned to bid. So of the 3 projects that are listed, the Martin Luther King ditch and sanitary sewer rehabilitation, which also includes Baja Road, McGinnis, and the lines by Lincoln Elementary. That project bid on February the 16th. We are still awaiting the General Land Office approval letter, which we're expecting any day, which is why it's not an action item tonight. But that should be on your March 8th agenda to award that project. And that bid came in at $518,319, which was slightly under budget. And just remember, this GLO is a full $2.3 million grant that covers all costs for these projects. The water plant number 3 generator project, that is scheduled to bid, pre-bid meetings tomorrow, and bid opening is next Wednesday. That adds a second generator to water plant 3 site. So right now, you have 1 generator that runs a portion of the plant. There's 2 electrical services. So this is the second generator to power the rest of the plant. So in the event of emergency, both generators can run and feed the entire plant site versus just 1. So we do have the approval letter on that project. So we will have at the March 8th meeting those bids for sure. Items listed below are your TxDOT projects, which are still all underway regarding the traffic signal analysis, speed study, all those items. The cleaning televising project, that has been awarded. Contracts were signed today, so we'll be having a pre-construction meeting next week with the contractor. And just to follow up on one of the things earlier, by Lift Station 4 and the mobile home, Cedar Crest, mobile home park, those sewer lines along Old Plantersville are in the scope to get televised and cleaned. So if there is some structural issue that might be causing this, that will be found during this project. So we can address that. It's more than just wipes and grease. Klepper Sidewalk project, which was again mentioned earlier, we met with staff this morning, did a final review of the plans, made some tweaks and some alignments, added some additional signage, etc. So we should have that ready to bid here in the next few weeks. So hopefully here, probably your first meeting in April, have bids for that project, which will put it in construction and have it done prior to the end of the summer. Your 15-year capital improvement plan, so this is what was emailed out back on February 8th. This was your taking all of your previous master plans, your transportation plan, and adding in additional items into that plan. So pretty substantial list. Also, that includes development, and we've had updated development projections down through 2050. And then those projects were based on how do we meet all the demand over the next 15 years in that. So we've since met with staff. We have a couple things that we're changing, or not really changing, but adding to it just for further clarification. One thing, we've talked about the MLK sidewalks, we budgeted MLK sidewalks, we did not have that listed specifically on there. So we're adding that back in, or not back in, we're adding that to it. And then also Flagship Boulevard, there's some issues with Flagship and the paving that's been there, and that is going to get added to the list as well. A couple things to note, I do think that a workshop is probably the best avenue to sit down and lay out the papers and talk through it and go into the details, because when it was Dave and Mike and Richard and I, we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours going through it. Probably not the best use of everyone's time tonight, but having a workshop would be the best fit for that. Last thing I want to say on that is, it is a big number. There's a lot of improvements that are required. We looked at your impact fees, and so if you collect impact fees on all the projected development, it would cover all the costs of that, because a lot of those projects on the list are developer-driven projects. So they're projects that are needed because of development, either done by developers or funded by developers. So a lot of that work can get accomplished with some partnerships between developers, payment of impact fees, et cetera. And I'll have an actual, when we have our workshop, have a number to put that to, so it's a little bit less ambiguous of an answer.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing 58 million come out in impact fees. Like I'm like you said, what?
Right.
So you're gonna have to definitely break that one down for me.
Developments in the next section are listed. So Shipley's no revised plans this month. Hills of Town Creek Section 5, their preliminary plat, we will have that more than likely for the Planning and Zoning Commission next week. No, excuse me, that one was already approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Porter Farms will have it, the Planning and Zoning Commission next week for their 90 lots on the north side of town. Town Creek Crossing Section 1, we had a a punch list inspection on February the 17th. There are a handful of items that still need to be addressed, so we're working with the developer to get those completed. Hills of Town Creek Section 3, we have discussed. Hills of Town Creek Section 4 is coming up for its 1-year warranty on March 24th. So next week we'll be scheduling a walkthrough of that. So same process. We'll reflood the streets. We'll recheck all the manholes, all the meter boxes, make sure everything's exposed and in good condition before we release that warranty period on the project. And then general activity. So the Cameron Redbird Meadows development, we were coordinating with their engineer. We have a call scheduled later this week regarding the timing of a lot of the capital improvements that are required for their project that they have previously discussed funding. Permit renewal for your TPDES permit, that's your wastewater treatment plant permits. Both of those are still in review by the state. Turn lane has been talked about. Access management, and then the final item on my report is your emergency preparedness plan. So that is nearing completion. We'll get that submitted this week. And then once it gets submitted to the state, they'll review it, and then the city will implement it prior to July 1st is the deadline that's been set by the state. So what it does is it lays out in the plan, you have 14 different options of how you provide service in an emergency. We have generators, so that is our plan, is we have the generators with fuel. And in that plan, it lists who are all your suppliers for your chemicals, how much storage do you have on site, your fuel, how much demand do you need, and then what are the other steps that you can take. So you'll have a drought contingency plan that's enacted during a drought, and also can be enacted during an emergency because it's based on usage and run times. So that's a way that you can help limit water usage and demand in order to meet an emergency. So it's a preset form that the state set out, and every public water entity in the state is required to complete it. And then our attachments is a copy of the pay estimate, just so you can see. And then the very last page of the packet is the updated development map Similar to everything Richard said, a couple things to note that we do have on there, Discount Tire, which didn't make it on this report, but we did receive plans on Friday for Discount Tire development. So we're in the process of reviewing those and the other ones that are listed. That's all I have. Unless you have any questions for me.
Chris, you have any update on the apartments on Players Morgan?
As far as completion time, I haven't heard anything directly from them. I know they're getting closes over the next few months, but I haven't heard an official completion time or expected opening for those apartments.
Okay, before you go, I'd like to thank the chief and Chris and this council for lowering the speed limit on 1097. So if any of you have traveled that road, it's down to 45 and they sitting there writing tickets. So the speed limit is moved from 55 to 45 now, at least past the houses on the bridge there. So thank you.
Do we have a baby yet?
Yes, yes.
We do have a baby.
Yes,
Shame on you for not
Catherine-
sending us pictures.
Catherine, which is not here, she was born, her daughter was born on February the 9th.
Okay.
Okay,
Please tell her congratulations
Will do.
from us.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that ends our departmental reports. What is your council?
Richard, do we need to make a motion with a contingency for the workshop for this? Or just a motion as it stands? Because I want to make sure that I assume we all want a workshop. Carol, you want a workshop?
Yes.
Byron, a
I think we'll
workshop?
need it.
To
I
answer
think
your
we'll need
question, I
it.
believe you just accept the reports, but with regards to setting up a workshop, I don't know what dates, if you want me to circulate an email or if you want to discuss some dates now. My recommendation might be to start with March 15th, that Tuesday, because since you already regularly meet on Tuesdays, I don't know about all of your schedules, that would be the Tuesday in between the second and fourth Tuesday, so the third Tuesday of March. We don't otherwise have a meeting that week, so I would offer that as at least a starting point for conversation. I'm open to any date that works for council. I'll find a way to be here.
I think that's spring break.
Oh, it is spring break
isn't
week.
it? Yeah.
I have children out of school, so I no longer keep in touch with those. If y'all have alternative dates that you think might be good and workable, just what's good for y'all, I'll make work for me.
Maybe you just send us an email like you have in the past and
Okay.
give us some suggestions. We'll see what we can.
Do you want me to go ahead and just, but entirely block out that week being spring break to allow for other activities that might be?
Probably best.
Oh, it might be.
Okay. I'll look at the calendar of what's going on already in this room and then offer several suggestions over the next month.
And spring break's the 12th through the 21st because MISD just extended it another day. So the 21st is also
All right. Thank
quote
you.
unquote spring break.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we accept the reports.
Second?
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded that we accept the departmental reports. All those in favor of accepting the reports, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. We accept the departmental reports as is. Next on the agenda is the executive section. City Council reserves the right to discuss any of the items listed specifically under this heading or for any item listed above in executive closed session as permitted by law, including if they meet qualifications in section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, 551.073, deliberation regarding gift, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices, and 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations of Chapter 551 of the Government Code of the State of Texas. It is 6:50, and we are joining to closed section as authorized by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551 of the Government Code, in accordance with the authority contained in the following section, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property.
Mr. Wilkerson?
Committee, Colin had a question, and we found out we can't ask, but I think he wanted to address the gentleman in the blue shirt. Could you see him, please? He raised his hand for a question.
Yes, ma'am. How are you? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for having us, sir.
You bet. Yeah.
I'm waiting on you, so you don't have to vote. I just- Sorry. Sorry.
No problem.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, man. All right. What grade you in?
Awesome.
Which two?
Jerry?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All
I
right.
see you have your arrow of light too.
Yes.
Way to go. So you've been in
Good.
Scouts for a long time. Have you been in since you were a tiger?
Yes, tiny little.
Yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Keep with it until you're an eagle. That'd be awesome. Oh, and you have an arrow of light too. You got it all. Yeah.
That's new.
All right, thanks.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Y'all have a good afternoon.
7:20, the city council is back in session. Consideration and possible action on real property matter discussed in executive session. Council?
I make a motion, we direct legal counsel and administration to approve the real estate contract.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and second that we instruct the city attorney to prepare a contract for real estate property. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. We instruct our city attorney to prepare a contract on real property. Now we add a council inquiry. Anything from the council?
Just as, from what we discussed earlier, I'll check on dates that will work within this room for a workshop date, and then within 48 hours, I'll circulate out several dates to council.
Okay.
Do you want us to just send you a list of what works for us and see if you can draw a number out of the lottery system? And
That's fine with me. If y'all want to just all send me something that works for you, finding the date that works for 100% of people may be difficult, but we'll certainly do the best we can.
that's all we can expect.
Okay. Nothing else? Entertain a motion to,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
motion has been made and second that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, meeting is adjourned.
I just stopped it. So who does this go to?